How's it going, everybody? My name is Robert Priel of Cigar Manor. Here today is the CEO and founder, Ettore Gabriele Moraschinelli of EGM Cigars, amassing over 400 million views on all social media platforms. EGM Cigars has really carved its way into the cigar industry. It's a pleasure to have my first guest for our episode and our podcast.
Thank you, Robert.
And it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much. Pleasure is all mine. It's really exciting to be here. It's an honor for me to be your first guest. As I mentioned in our private conversation, you're starting this series with a bang, so well done.
Absolutely.
Great choice.
Yeah. So, where did you grow up, and what was your background for your appreciation for luxury and cigars?
Well, while we're filming in California, I would like to add a little bit of a bit of color to the story. I'm very fond of California. I was an exchange student in 2002, 2003, and I spent a full year in the beautiful town of Saratoga near San Jose.
Yeah.
And so I have developed many friends, and I have made lifelong friendships. And I'm very fond of this beautiful state, this beautiful country. But I was born in Italy, in northern Italy, actually in a small ski resort up in the Alps, very close to the Swiss border. And I've always had a penchant for tobacco, for cigars. My grandfather was a smoker. My father still is a smoker. And I've always appreciated tobacco for its virtues, for its nature. But my first contact with cigars came about during college, in our university years. I had a very close friend of mine whose father owned a substantive collection of cigars. And I remember the amazement, the absolute awe upon the sight of all these beautiful boxes, the smell, the colors, these logos that have been developed over a couple of hundred years when it comes to some of these older brands. So I was really taken aback, and I've been smoking cigars ever since. So I started as a collector ever since I could afford it after university. When I started to have a proper job, I started collecting cigars, and I basically thought that it was a great idea to turn a passion into a business, and that's how that's the story of how I have encountered cigars.
Absolutely. And what were you doing prior to EGM? Was this always the dream?
Well, the dream as a teenager has always been to run my own business, to have my own company. Yeah. After university, I worked for 2 years for a firm in London in their commercial department. And after that, I started my own business, my own office, which I have managed for 10 years before selling it in 2021. So I've, as far as I remember now, I've been, in business. So before the foundation of EGM Cigars, I had this wonderful promotional marketing agency in the UK, in London, which still exists. It's been absorbed by a German group, and it's doing very well. I'm very happy about that. But possibly the strengths of EGM Cigars as a up-and-coming brand from a communication and marketing point of view have been developed and consolidating during this formative years as as the director of an agency or marketing agency.
So, do you think the marketing agency, the company helped a lot with the virality of?
Yes, well, the virality actually came later when we started creating content. What we were striving for was aspirational type of production, so evocative photography, very suggestive environments, beautiful photography. But virality came about a little later in the story.
Absolutely. So, what was the single moment that the idea came to say, it's time for me to start my own brand?
Yeah. Well, I had always toyed with the idea of having my own brand of cigars. As a matter of fact, in my early travels to the Caribbean, I would often bring back some unbanded cigars, some custom rolls, as we know them, for me and my friends to enjoy, in our club in London or wherever. And since I realized that oftentimes I would be gifting an unbanded cigar, and it may end up in someone's humidor and forgotten about, I thought it would have been a nice touch to add my initials on the cigar, so as to for them to remember where the cigar was from, had they had to revisit or find it a few years later. So the first EGM band I actually designed myself, which I was very proud of back then. The version that you see now, it's a much more advanced or sophisticated version that was fine-tuned by a dear friend of mine and very talented artist in London. So that's actually how it started. I thought of banding my own cigars to begin with, and around 2015, 2016, I had amassed quite a substantial collection of cigars, vintage and limited editions and what have you. And what I saw as a buyer was a very, very dated environment. You know, the websites where I would buy my cigars were looking like something out of the early 2000s. The branding that these companies used was not particularly appealing. The quality of the imagery on the websites was quite frankly awful, very heavily pixelated images. And I had a wonderful team in the office with me. I had a very talented photographer who now is the head of marketing at EGM Cigars. I had a very talented SEO team that basically helped me develop our SEO strategy for EGM Cigars. So I had all of the right people, all the key people to start something different, something new, based on my own experience as a buyer of cigars online.
Absolutely. Now, I know your slogan is quiet luxury. Mm-hmm. Where did that phrase come from, and what does it mean to you?
Okay, so we started off by obviously providing good cigars in a beautifully constructed and graphically appealing website. But as we developed into being a cigar producer, we thought we would need to sort of demystify the entire idea around cigars. So first of all, we wanted cigars to be more inclusive. We thought that the current narrative or the existing narrative was something too dated for us. We wanted people not to feel like they had to read a book before they could enjoy a cigar. We didn't. We wanted to tell them that it's okay to smoke a cigar, even if you don't have access to the finest clubs in London. It's okay to smoke a cigar at the beach. It's okay to smoke it on the park bench. That sort of translated. That idea was conveyed through imagery to begin with, and so we wanted to have this. Luxurious product, which is ultimately, a handmade puro from the Dominican Republic. But we wanted it to be quiet in its sort of sophistication. We didn't want it to be too loud. We didn't want our branding to be too loud. We were, in a way, paying homage to the tradition of cigar making and the history that it carries, but at the same time sort of modernize the entire idea and bring it to a more contemporary consumer. It's not by chance that we have struck a certain success, particularly on TikTok, which is a platform used by a much younger demographic than your traditional social media platforms. And we are incredibly popular amongst the young smokers or first-time cigar smokers, possibly because of this idea that we had and being able to get rid of this mystique around cigars. We didn't want them to be too complicated. We didn't want to overly complicate things.
Well, that leads me to my next question of how would you describe the EGM Smoker, or who exactly would you be speaking to?
So we're talking about an international clientele, younger than your legacy smokers, with a refined palate, cosmopolitan, frequent traveler. In fact, we have EGM Cigar customers that enjoy buying our product across different locations, as we now are distributed in 17 different countries, and hopefully the United States will be the 18th. We'll see. But I would say people who really value taste, both in terms of aesthetics, but also taste as in flavor of their product, of the product that they choose to smoke, in this case EGM Cigars, if that's their choice. But I would say in sort of general terms, this would be the profile of the EGM Smoker.
Now, what do we have here today?
So this cigar is a half Corona or media Corona. This cigar is a media Corona. We call it media Corona because it's half the length of a traditional Corona cigar.
That's beautiful.
42 ring gauge, and perfect for, say, 15-20 minute smoke.
Yeah.
Do you know the story of this cigar? Do you know there's a sort of legend going around cigar literature and sort of the hearsay of cigar clubs. There was this English gentleman who enjoyed a Corona cigar on his way to the West End theaters from his house in Haymarket, and he realized that the Corona cigar was way too long, and he had to sort of wait outside theater to finish the cigar, causing the perennial rage of his wife. So he thought it would be a perfect idea to commission a cigar half the size to perfectly suit the timing of his travels, and he commissioned a specific factory to produce what was then called the half Corona. So this is the size that we're smoking. It's a nod to, again, the old world, an old elegance. It's a cigar that you don't often find. There's probably 2 or 3 brands that still do this size. I would say 3, including us.
Wow.
When you consider the global production of cigars, it's quite remarkable that only 3 brands are left with this Vitola. I love it. It's perfect for a morning smoke, or an aperitif pre-dinner.
Well, that works out for me. I'm more of a coffee or espresso and cigar or morning smoker. I know a lot of people, they do all day. I'm more the morning side.
Yeah, so I think this could actually work quite nicely.
Shall we spark it up?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, amazing.
Do you need a cover?
Do you think I could get a glass of water or? Thank you so much. I'm just getting a bit thirsty.
Yes, the lights.
Yeah, but wonderful. So these are made in Santo Domingo, so the capital of the Dominican Republic, and the leaves, all of the leaves come from the north of the island, in this region called Cibao Valley, or Navarrete, more specifically. And these particular leaves have been aged for 2 years, so it should be quite balanced and rounded in flavor.
So, what separates the OK Cigar brand from the greats? I mean, I'm sure you've immensely studied a lot of the cigar brands and the other people out there. So what, without naming names,
Of course.
what makes the kind of the mediocre or cigar brands more in the mediocrity side,
Yeah.
as opposed to the ones that have whole legacy?
Well, I think
reputation.
ultimately it's customers' behaviors. So whether they buy the product or not, so customers are the ultimate judge of a brand. Is not for me to say, but what I can say is that oftentimes, particularly new brands, they approach cigar making with an idea in mind, with an idea that is not necessarily as focused on flavor or taste, but more so on the price. And I'll
Agree.
expand further on this. There is a tendency to request certain prices from cigar making factories. So there's a tendency to say, I need a cigar to be 50 cents. I need a cigar to cost €1 because I want to enter this particular segment of the market. And unfortunately, what this does, thank you very much, you're very kind, thank you.
Would you like matches or a lighter? Do you have one?
I will use your lighter, actually, thank you.
So it's more about the flavor for you and the
Yeah,
complexity.
so I was saying, when you go to a maker and tell them, I need a cigar for $1, the maker obviously obliges, but the quality and the attention to the product is not the same as a $5 or $10 cigar.
Right.
And that's because maybe the cigar making is approached as more as a numbers game than actually a legacy project,
Quality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I left my DuPont at home.
Yeah. Well, the same. So
Last minute.
why?
Last minute.
No ding on this.
No, I missed the ding.
If you
settle
notice,
for cheap.
yeah. If you notice, many of our videos feature DuPont lighters, and
Absolutely.
so
We
Shout
we're,
out to
we're speaking
DuPont.
with the vice president right now.
Yeah.
He's going to come on, we think.
yeah, fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, when it comes to luxury, thank you. When it comes to luxury lighters, there's not many players in the game, and they're certainly,
So,
the best.
So, what inspired the names of the Vitolas? The Tiburones, the Encantos, and the Poderosos.
Yeah, well, each cigar represents an idea or a principle, an ode to something, or a nod to something. For example, we were talking about the Media Corona earlier.
Yeah.
So this idea of something for a specific amount of time, whilst honoring the old tradition of cigar making. Other cigars have been named on their character. For example, we have the Encanto, which is one of the most subtle and refined, possibly, cigars that we manufacture. Not to mention the hardest one to make because of its size. So Encanto, as the name suggests in Spanish, means enchantment, and it very much represents or conveys the experience that one goes through smoking an Encanto. So it's a particularly pleasant experience. It's a beautiful cigar. Poderoso, for example, means the mighty one or the strong one. Yeah. It's our fullest body cigar in the range, and so on and so forth. Tiburon, for example, which you mentioned, again, it's an homage to actually the Taino people, which were the indigenous inhabitants of the Caribbean, Hispaniola, the Haiti, and the Dominican Republic, as well as Cuba. And Tiburon was the name they used to identify the sharks, and it's a name that still exists. It's part of the Spanish vocabulary. So in Spanish, to refer to a shark, you use the Taino word tiburon, which we thought it was a nice sort of homage to the culture that actually brought cigars to the old world.
Yeah. Now, why did you choose to base your production in the Cibao Valley of Dominican Republic? Was there a specific direction you were trying to go based off of Nicaragua, Dominican, Cuba?
Well, we wanted to recreate a specific flavor profile, which is the flavor profile of the cigar that we like to smoke.
Yeah.
More around medium-bodied cigar. We are not, as a company, as a group of friends, ultimately, that were involved in the business. We tend to appreciate softer, more sort of medium-bodied cigar versus fuller-bodied versus lots of spices and so forth. So the idea was we want to create this type of experience. Where can we get it? Where can we go to have something like this? So we did a lot of research. We tried many different. First, we tried the existing brands. And the expression of the brand in relation to the land. And we found Dominican cigars to be more in line with our flavor preferences. So we went to visit the island. We approached different makers, and we narrowed it down to 2 or 3 factories. We did a lot of sampling, and we then settled on a maker based in Santo Domingo. And when blending the initial 5 vitolas, we asked them where's the best tobacco from? Because we were presented with a range of blends and different ideas based on the brief that we presented. And they told us, well, there's a very small valley northwest of the island which produces the finest tobacco and also the most expensive. It's not easy to get. It's not easy to get there.
Good soil.
Good soil, yeah. Absolutely. And so we said, okay, well, it's again going back to what I mentioned earlier. We didn't start this project with a budget in mind. We didn't know how much these cigars were going to cost. We just wanted to create something that we liked, and we were proud of selling or presenting to our existing customers, because when we launched EGM Cigars, we had already quite a healthy customer base selling other cigars. And so, that's how we sort of discovered this area, discovered the fertile lands of the Cibao Valley. And what you're smoking, I think, is a pretty good representation of what this land has to offer in terms of tobacco.
I love it. And you know, I've noticed, you know, reading up on a lot of what EGM believes in. You guys believe in fully organic.
Completely.
It's, you know, touch 200 hands.
Completely, yes.
So, was it more sticking to the ethics of it, or was it more of a flavor-driven decision to pick?
Well, it was actually something of an ethical choice. We wanted to work with the farmers and then of course the factories that respected the ancient tradition as much as they could, and so we wanted to work with growers that wouldn't use any chemical pesticides. For example, we work with a specific grower that uses the central vein of the cigar leaves. You know, when you actually prepare cigars or when you prepare tobacco leaves for curing, the central vein is removed because it carries actually 90% of the nicotine in the leaf, and this vein is then sort of dried and ground to a powder, which is then used as fertilizer and natural actually pesticide. So we wanted to work with this kind of attention. Ultimately, it's a product that you put in your mouth, you smoke. We didn't want to have anything to do with artificial flavors. I think I'm quite confident in saying this on camera that we will never go into flavored tobacco, flavored cigars. So this is not for us. This is not what the brand stands for. So I think organic was the only way.
Now, how involved are you in the process of the blending and the Vitola development?
Well, very much so. I mean, I'm not a blender myself, but I am part of the panel that decides on a blend over another. So whenever we decide to produce a new cigar, a new Vitola, again, we give the factory our brief, and a number of blends are then presented, which sometimes are not exactly or not at all what we want. So this process takes, I would say the process of creating a new cigar takes anything between 6 to 12 months in terms of from the idea to the actual box of cigars. And myself personally and a couple of close colleagues smoke everything, review everything. We discuss it amongst ourselves and decide whether something is a go or not. Oftentimes, we don't agree, but most of the times we do agree. And so I would say I myself personally am very much involved. And being the CEO, sometimes I have the privilege of taking executive decisions and deciding when the board is undecided.
Yeah. Is this a dream come true? I mean, does it feel incredible to be able to lead and be very involved in just your own brand and tobacco and everything like that?
I think so. I think it's. I feel absolutely privileged and incredibly grateful to be in the position I'm at. I started this business with some of my best friends, our COO and the CMO, friend, our friends, yes, from university. We often travel together to events. We have the time of our life. It's the best possible situation if you can maintain an honest relationship, work on something that you like, and make a living out of it. I think it's really an absolute dream come true. And possibly, the success of EGM Cigars is also related to the wonderful relation amongst its members, its founding members. Yeah,
Absolutely. Now, EGM has 1.2 million followers and counting, and over 400 million views across all social media platforms. I mean, does that sound crazy to
it's
you?
mind blowing.
It's mind-blowing, yeah. So what was the process, and feel free to get very specific if you want, but what was the process of building that within, 8 years? 2017, right?
Yeah, 8 years. So, as I mentioned, virality was not really something that we could that we would have even dreamt of. Again, we started with the aspirational values in terms of content creation, and then later realized that aspirational content could only go so far. It was a wonderful foundation, but every once in a while we needed to add something that was somewhat controversial. We explored many different sort of avenues, but we always invested in artistic content creation. We always created our own content or collaborated with photographers that were part of the project, but we never fell into the trap of now especially with our own brand, it would be inconceivable. But when we were selling other people's brands, we never fell into the trap of posting other people's content or taking other people's content and reposting it. But anyways, virality, going back to the idea of virality, came about, I think, with the advent of TikTok for us. TikTok, the algo on TikTok allowed many unknown content creators to reach vast audiences, and it did so indiscriminately. You could be anywhere in the world, posting whatever, and if the content was viewed, liked, and shared by the initial pool of viewers that the content was served to, you would be rewarded. And so we tested many different formats. What did it for us at the beginning was the implementation of ASMR elements to some of the videos, which it's obviously a massive trend. There's ASMR content on virtually anything, any product. But in cigars, nobody had thought about it. Nobody had done it. So we started with the ASMR unboxing, which was very successful. We then went into ASMR factory production. This was even a bigger hit. When we started posting factory videos, I think the opportunity that the viewer gets to be so close to an artist, in this case a cigar roller, moving their hand so beautifully, creating something unique. Ultimately each cigar is unique. It's a one-off. I think that was very captivating for these massive audiences, and I'm very, very happy that we could create something that was so enjoyed globally. As you mentioned, 1.2 million followers collectively across the globe. It's really wonderful. The opportunities then started to materialize: brand collaborations, requests for interviews, and many other things. New customers, obviously, as many people found out about us through some of this viral content. So it was a sort of a self-discovery process, trial and error, but we never gave up until something actually clicked.
Now, let's not forget that there's an extreme difficulty getting around censorship with tobacco on TikTok.
Correct.
So I speak to a lot of very well-known influencers like yourself in the cigar world, and it's a headache and it's very difficult for them to build an audience because the algorithm is against tobacco.
Yes.
Well, I mean, in the United States, I mean, I don't know, everywhere
No,
else.
everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, the advice I would give to content creators is not to go for any sort of sales pitch that gets an immediate ban. Also, not to be overtly encouraging anybody to smoke. That's also a red flag. So for us, for example, the way to do this was to focus on the artistry. Again, factory videos, unboxing videos, lighting and cutting videos, which basically fall under the educational category of the lifestyle, of cigar smoking. So yes, we've also faced some issues, some absolutely wonderful videos that we thought were not in any way pushing the sale of a particular product, were flagged and then removed automatically. So we're struggling like everyone else, but I suppose we have the benefit of having this giant audience. So the account has somewhat built a certain track record, and I think possibly there's there's less of an attention or a focus on censorship once the account is recognized as an authority on something. In this case, we're the largest account on TikTok for cigars. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Was there anything about was there anything you learned about the audience that surprised you while doing these videos? Like, are they attracted to any videos in particular? I'm sure the factories, I see the factories on many different people that I follow. Those are always the biggest videos.
Yes.
I mean, millions and millions of people love the factories and the rolling.
Yes.
So was that something that surprised you? Was that over a lot of other ones?
Yeah, but if the question is about the audience, what surprised me was how transversal, how universal the reception of the content was. Gender, demographics, location, completely universal in its appeal, and that was really, a wonderful surprise. We tend to imagine the typical cigar smoker, and therefore the typical viewer of cigar-related content, as a specific type of person, but that's not the case. We cater to an incredibly varied number of people, and from all different sort of credos and countries, locations, occupation. For example, this product that we have recently developed, which by the way is our bestseller, is called the EGM Cigaritos. This again was conceived for a typical cigarette smoker that is intimidated by big cigars, as one does. Nobody is familiar with the mechanics of lighting, cutting, smoking a big cigar, and again, the image of the typical cigar smoker is this person, with a giant cigar, and that can be intimidating. So what we created was basically the smallest handmade cigar that we could do. Again, long filler, same quality of tobacco as all the other cigars that we do, but just in a much more sort of accessible format. So beautiful. If you take a look, this is exactly like any other cigar that we do in terms of the making of it, but it's just much more approachable for someone who has never smoked a cigar. So the idea was to hopefully convert cigarette smokers into cigar smokers and convincing them to smoke something a little more sustainable, healthier for them. You don't inhale this, not supposed to inhale cigar smoke. So yeah, that was the idea.
Well, that leads me into my next question of asking, what would be the best entry level cigar from the EGM brand?
Okay, well, what we're smoking, the Media Corona, is a good entry-level cigar. The size is not intimidating to most. The blend, as you can tell, is very smooth. It's a very palatable cigar, and it lasts about 15 to 20 minutes. Perfect over sort of quick conversation, and versatile. It travels well. It's easy to carry. We're thinking of, it's currently packed in a box of 20 cigars. We're considering, creating also a tin of 5 cigars to be able to carry them more easily. So this could be one of the next additions to the range. But I would say the Media Corona is a nice sort of entry level smoke.
I love this, and that leads me to our last question, which is. What do you want people to look back on 20 years from now? What do you want them to remember of EGM?
Well, I would like them to remember us for a company that brought something new to the table against all odds, against what everyone said. Starting a new cigar brand sounded as crazy as anything, especially in an industry that had consolidated over centuries. So I would like EGM to be sort of still enjoyed and appreciated and considered a brand that brought something new to the table, a new image, a new idea of cigar smoking, making it more accessible, making it more inclusive, and bringing something ancient to the modern world, whilst respecting the tradition and the history behind this wonderful product. So I think if we will be still in business 20 years from now, I think we should do another interview and see where we're at, but hopefully before that. And I mean, I'm incredibly proud of what we've achieved as a small team back in 2017. To now become the most followed brand in the world. Miles ahead of giants that have been around for
100 years,
100 plus years. So I'm incredibly proud of what we've achieved, and it's now about focusing on quality, never forgetting that quality is our number one priority. We will never compromise on that, and we will focus on making sure that these products are as good today as they will be in time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Great having you.
Thank you.
And
anytime you want to come and see us in Switzerland,
absolutely,
you'd be very welcome. And we have some wonderful restaurants near our office where we can smoke, so we can sample the entire range and have great conversations like we have done today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for us today. We look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care.